What is going on, Sports Game Vision world? You are now tuned into the sounds of the No Face Sports Show here at Sports Game Vision. We are going to be talking about a couple of items today. Not going to hold you long. As you can see, we're going to be talking about my Detroit Pistons, the league and their rules and fines, and another topic that popped in as I jumped in here to pod to talk to you today here at the No Face Sports Show. But as we proceed to give you what you need, we're going to talk about the league. Adam Silver. He came out with a statement. He fined the Utah Jazz and the Indiana Pacers a large amount of money for violating league rules about tanking um, and holding out players that should play. And his statement was overt behavior like this that prioritizes draft position over winning undermines the foundation of the NBA competition, and we will respond accordingly to any further action that compromise the integrity of our game. And he has to do what he has to do to protect the league, to protect face for the media. But tanking is honestly okay. And teams are going to do it and they should do it to further their position in the league, to help the future, to help them grow, to win championships. We've recently seen this with the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, the past generation, when they got David Robinson, when they got Tim Duncan, they won championships over with those guys. Of course, with Tim Duncan over his long career. And in recent years, we've seen the 76ers do it. They made the team a lot better. They didn't win, but they did make the team a lot better. And of course, more recently, Oklahoma City Thunder and the Detroit Pistons have done it. OKC has capped it off with the NBA championship. And of course, my Pistons are trying to get there. Now, tanking does suck as a fan to watch it, but when you know what it can do for the future, it's absolutely something that you want to do. And as you see for those Pistons, and of course, OKC is working out just fine. And just for giggles, right here, Oklahoma City Thunder had concerns about the Utah Jazz tanking and put pressure on the NBA to act on it as their draft order implications for OKC based on Utah's behavior, basically. So it's funny that they tanked and then they snitched on Utah this past week or whatever. It ended up being, I believe, a $500,000 fine for the Utah Jazz. Now the Pacers separately got $100,000 fine for holding out. I believe it was Siakam. It was one of the players that they could have played in the game. There was nothing wrong with them from league investigations, and they gave them a fine saying, "Hey, you have to play these players in order to, to be within the rules." Now, like I said, Adam Silver has to do exactly what he has to do to protect the league. For me, I call myself a fan caster, blogger, whatever you want to call me, creator. Yes, it's interesting to make content on this, but as an actual fan and paying customer, you do want to see the spirit of competition. Now, also again, as I said, as being a fan of the game, a fan of a team or teams, you want to see them get better, and sometimes you get stuck. If you keep paying these guys over and over year after year, and your team is just stuck average, you have to rebuild, and the draft is the best way to do it, and that's why they're doing, of course, with free agency as well, but getting the youth, as you can see with OKC, and hopefully the Pistons, and it looks like the Spurs will once again be in that list. Will be able to take it to another level and win the championship as well. Teams that have done the tanking. And there's going to be other teams as well that are doing it. Looks like the Wizards and all these other teams that are haven't been good for very long, but what they're building up, they should, absolutely be able to be playoff teams and hopefully champions. I will put probably Charlotte look like they're turning it around. I've been rooting for them too. They stay healthy. They might be a team that be a force to be reckoned with as well. A lot of those players came from the draft and pretty much tanking. But yeah, what do you think about this? Do you think they deserve to get the fines? I'm okay with it protecting the league. If the league really wants to shut it down, they have to give even more fines and more penalties. But again, these teams are going to figure out a way, just like the players do on offense and defense. They're going to find the loopholes and they're going to continue to do what they need to do to be successful. But tanking is okay. and I'm here for it. You go to any other league, organization, association, they do the same thing. And what they're actually going to do more than likely is, if you put these fines and, structure on them, preventing them from doing things, they're just going to just trade a lot of these players away, release a lot of these players, get talent that's not as good just so they can pretty much tank and be within the league rules. They'll leave a couple veterans on there, maybe one pretty good player or two, but they'll just get players that don't make a lot of money and not that good so they can continue tanking. But again, what do you think? Make sure you like this, share, subscribe, and we're going to move on to the next topic, and that is my Detroit Pistons. Hell yeah. You see the suspensions there. Isaiah Stewart with 7 games, Miles Bridges with 4. I do not know how to say his name great. Diabate, I believe, 4 games, and Jalen Duren, 2 games. Honestly, again, Adam Silver has to do what he has to do, and the league has to do what they have to do. Isaiah jumped off the bench. He got a lot of time. I think Miles Bridges' time should be exactly the same or more, because he definitely made the fight go on longer than it should have, because he was chasing everybody around and throwing punches, and he only got 4. He should have got 7 or more. He should be right on par with Isaiah Stewart. But for me, is the fighting okay? No. But do I like it? Yes. It's showing competition. It's going to create rivalries. I just talked about, I was hoping Charlotte got better and they're actually pretty good this year. This can be a great playoff series. If they continue to be good year after year, you'll have a rival. And that's one of the things that I believe is missing in the league, these true deep rivals. And again, the ones that were, back in the day, they had the great rivalries, had that physicality in it. They were willing to go to blows if they needed to. The Knicks and the Heat and all that stuff, the Bulls and Pistons, Celtics, even Celtics Lakers, and other teams as well, Celtics, 76ers, all type of teams. They had that physical rivalry, and they wanted to win bad. They weren't all friendly on the court. Not to say that these guys are all the way friendly, but again, that just seeing it on the court, that passion, I believe as an old school fan is great. Again, the league had to do what they had to do with the suspensions. Isaiah came off the court. We already know what that rule is, from cost the Phoenix Suns a championship, from that Steve Nash got bumped by Robert Horry, and players came off the bench to protect them, and cost them a championship. Guys got games. They've created a rule about it. Can leave off the bench, automatic suspension. But early in the season, what is it? Jalen Duren, he's going to be able to participate in the All-Star festivities, and he'll serve his time afterwards. But as you can see, the Pistons won. They got one of the top 2 records in the league. Them and OKC, we just talked about them. And my picks for again, you can't go against the champion, but I did pick Pistons and Spurs to get there. They meet that 40-20 rule, and the Spurs are right on par with that as well. So it's going to be great to see the next part of the season when it comes around. But man, please, fighting, as long as guys don't take it to where they'll, really harm somebody, just a little bit of tussling is going to be okay, and it's going to be great for viewership. I don't know what you think about it, but let me know. I truly enjoyed the game and the toughness and the competition. We talk about guys really caring, and teammates sticking up for each other. That's what they need to do, and that's what it's about as well. Of course, good sportsmanship, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? But let me know what you think in the comment section here. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to hold you long. We know that the All-Star festivities are starting today. I believe all the celebrity game is going on, and tomorrow we got the dunk contest and 3-point, and of course on Sunday is the actual game. Who do you got in that? USA versus the world is going to be very interesting. We have some replacements going on. I believe Steph is not going to play, a couple other players, but I think it should be interesting to see. Hopefully they fix that issue with the All-Star game this year. Guys actually compete, and the All-Star the actual dunk contest, I'm a little bit on the fence about that. They need to repair that. I don't know if we've got the best dunkers in the game to do it. 3-point contests will be interesting too. There's a lot of great shooters now, so that should be good. As long as guys don't freeze up, I think it's going to be okay. But to close out here on the No Face Sports Show, Sports Game Vision, we're going to talk about some breaking news, and that's Chris Paul retires from the league. He was released from the Toronto Raptors earlier today, and it was shocking that nobody would pick him up on what he was basically going to be his retirement tour. Somebody could have put him on the roster and just let him ride it out to the end. Of course, maybe he didn't feel like, going to anywhere, to any team, but, he did sign with the Clippers, and we know how that all turned out with them, basically telling him to go home in the middle of the night on a road trip. And it wasn't right, but he's a great player. He's in the NBA 75 anniversary, 12-time All-Star. He's on defensive teams, Rookie of the Year, second in the assists and career-wise, and steals career-wise. He's up there with Stockton. As far as that, it's going to be hard to be Stockton on the assists and steals, but he's right there. One of the greatest point guards I've ever seen. A lot of people that are watching him now are seeing a different version of him. I've seen him when he was at his apex, and he was one of the best players in the league, up there with his buddy Bron and Melo and all that. One of the best point guards to ever play this game. Unfortunately, couldn't cap it off with a championship, but he got there. He got the taste at least to get there. Played in some competitive playoffs. The injury bug got him, and just teams just didn't live up to the hype all the time. But he always improved teams wherever team he was on. Even as he got older, teams would still improve if you really let him do what he's best at and be a leader and be the point guard, the great point guard that he is. Those teams improved. So shout out to Chris Paul. Sorry you couldn't, live it out this year the way you really wanted to, being the Clippers' best player of all time, and how that had turned out. But still, we tip our hat to you. We know that jersey gonna get raised. We know that you're probably gonna get a statue out there, and you will be in the Hall of Fame. Again, you're already in the top 75 all time, so that lets you know how great the CP3 is and was. So, again, shout out to him, and we're going to be watching some sports this weekend, as I just said. We got the All-Star festivities. I believe there's a boxing match tomorrow. It's going to be Clarissa Shields and her heavyweight championship defense. And there's also going to be, of course, wrestling tonight, SmackDown. And, of course, I believe AEW tomorrow has their pay-per-view going on. So a lot of stuff to watch and to talk about. But this is what I wanted to talk about right now. Fighting is okay in the league, or scrapping. Tanking is okay if it's going to improve the team, but the league has to do what they got to do. So you got to stay within the confines of the rules so that you don't have excessive penalties and fines that's going to really hurt the team. But you do what you got to do to protect your team and build for the future. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to stick with. The No Face Sports Show. We're gonna wrap it up here. Share, subscribe, and we'll be back for another one. Peace.